Hey everyone, I'm Evan Ash, and this is episode 270 of the Sports Ballers podcast. It's Super Bowl week, and we're ready to make our official predictions for Sunday's big game. Cory and Eric will make their annual prop bets, and we'll give Eric a chance to elaborate on his initial reaction you all heard last week to the Corbin Burns trade. All that and more next. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Sports Ballers podcast. I'm Evan Ash, joined as always by Corey Puffett and Eric Meyer. How are y'all doing today?
Doing pretty well.
Ready to lose some money, as always. Can't wait. That's going to be fun.
I've been doing all I can this week talking about this to try and jinx myself so that Eric can finally win some prop bets. I'm not confident that it's going to work.
It's not going to work. I'm going to lose, at least
I always win the
$15.
stupidest bets. This is how it works in our friendship.
Yeah.
Oh.
The game earlier this year, the Eagles-Jets game, proves that I will never win.
The Eagles were 10-1, and the one was the Jets.
Yes. And they had the ball. They just picked up a first down, and Jalen Hurts basically throws a pick six. In fact, it was worse than a pick six because the Eagles didn't get the ball back. The Jets took it all the way to the 10 and then ran out the clock and kicked a game-winning field goal. I hate them. That was so bad. Anyway, stuff.
Yes, stuff. Let's see. So there was a groundhog last week, and then this week we've got coming up a superb owl is apparently showing up on Sunday. So we will see what happens with that.
No more winter, please.
Yeah, no more winter, please. It's way too cold. There's NBA, MLB, but not the Yankees. I don't see any Yankee stuff on here. College sports, and of course, the aforementioned NFL football game. So we'll start in the NBA. Definitely not to for me to figure out what my tiebreaker question for y'all is going to be. So Eric, what in the world is going on? Wait, Doc Rivers is coaching again,
Yes.
and he's coaching. He's on the Bucks now.
Yes.
Okay, and he's coaching the East during the All-Star game. Apparently.
That's correct.
This is all news to me. Alrighty, well,
You want me
Go.
to say stuff about that? Because I don't care.
I want to understand.
well, somebody
how-
say something about it.
I want to understand how this is a thing, how this is the rule in the NBA that just automatically, with no ability to pull an audible, whoever is the active head coach of the team with the best record in the conference, who also did not coach in last year's All-Star game, is automatically the coach of the All-Star game. That's how Doc Rivers is the coach. The Bucks fire their head coach in the middle of the season, despite being, what were they, 31-13 or something?
They were good. Yes.
They had a very good record. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the metrics were not that impressive.
No.
Their point differential was something like 10th in the NBA.
It wasn't very good.
Right.
It was not championship worthy.
Not championship worthy, not what you would expect from a team that is one of the top two teams in their conference at that point in time. But they fired him. They bring Doc Rivers in.
That's right.
And because they clinched the second best record in the conference behind the Celtics, and the Celtics head coach was the All-Star game coach for the East last year, that means that somehow Doc Rivers is coaching the All-Star game. What?
Yeah, what indeed? This is... Okay, firstly, thank you to the Bucks for getting Doc Rivers off of TV, because listening to him try to talk, at this point in his career, no shade to Doc. I understand he's had some health issues that have led to his voice being fried, but he doesn't have a voice for broadcasting anymore. So I appreciate the fact that he's not doing that any longer. However, Doc Rivers, we've talked about his coaching shortcomings in the past, namely recently with Philadelphia, with the Clippers, hell, even with the Boston Celtics when he was coaching them back in the day. But like this is just kind of a weird quirk, I guess, right? Like they just pick a guy who's you've got the best record in the East, or if you had the best record in the East last year and therefore coached last year, you don't get to coach this year. So Doc was the guy that got the call. I mean, whatever. It's goofy, but the coaches don't get credit for all-star games, so whatever. I don't care. He doesn't seem to care either. He agrees this is dumb.
Yeah, he basically said that he's going to give, if they win, he's going to give his ring, which for some reason they get rings for this.
Yeah.
He's going to give it to the old coach. Suggested that he would talk. He suggested he's going to talk to Adam Silver about him going on vacation while his staff handles the coaching.
That would be fine. I don't care. Doc Rivers can do whatever he wants here. Like, he knows he doesn't really deserve this. He probably doesn't even want it. He's probably just like, I got stuck with this.
Right.
First, I come back, and the first thing I do is I got to coach the All-Star game. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, he's going to wind up going into the fourth quarter with, like, it's 17-point lead and still lose, even though it's only the first 25 points beyond that.
He would find a way to blow a 3-1 lead in a one-game series. That's something he would do. So, yeah. There's my shot at Doc Rivers. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. I have come up with the tiebreaker.
I'm glad I bought you some time.
Yes. Joel Embiid will miss at least 4 weeks with a meniscus? MCL? Something happened.
He does have a meniscus. Yes, that's true. I also have a meniscus.
I've got
that's
two.
why
2 of them.
Uh-huh. What
I'm
happened
badass like that. I got 2.
Yeah. What happened to Joel Embiid?
He has a meniscus injury.
we talked about it last week.
Yeah, he got hurt.
But now he's had a procedure done, and so he's gonna miss the next month.
He hurt it more, or?
Well, no, just like because of the injury from
That he
last week, they
sustained,
wound up
yes.
having a procedure. Now we have a specific timetable on his return. Whereas last week, when we found out this injury, they were saying anywhere from like 2 to 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, well, 4 weeks is right in between those.
Yes.
So MVP candidacy is officially over at that point. He will miss too many games to qualify for that, and who cares?
I mean, to be fair, he was averaging his most points per game in any season of his career. So clearly he was the front runner for the MVP, right?
I mean, he was.
He was
Keyword
really good.
was.
He was the
He's
front
not
runner
anymore.
for Vegas. Are you trying to induce me into saying something else?
I thought somebody else was the front runner.
Is that Nikola Jokic
Yeah.
who's the MVP? I mean, I talked about
Come on,
how
it's still Jokic.
Jokic is still the best player in the league, no doubt. But when Embiid's averaging 36 a game, it's understandable to say, hey, maybe not. Evan is monkeying with his microphone here. Don't understand why that
It was a little high.
A little high.
Yeah.
Well, mine's up there, and I'm still talking. But
Oh.
Anywho, yeah, Embiid's hurt. Sixers will probably start losing some games. They're playing Golden State, I think, tonight. And I was reminded the fact that Embiid is out when I saw that the Warriors were 4-point favorites on the road. Because as we've discussed on this podcast, the Warriors aren't particularly good. And the Sixers have been very good, and they're at home. So I'm like, why are they 4 points? And I was like, oh, yeah, Embiid's not playing. So there you go.
Alrighty. Nothing else from the NBA. Let's just stick with basketball and college basketball. We have a new heading under college sports. Dartmouth men's basketball players recognized as, quote, employees of the school, end quote, by National Labor Relations Board will enable players to unionize.
Yeah, this is an interesting ruling. Basically, if this winds up spreading around college sports, which there's no reason to believe that it won't after a ruling like this, athletes at just about any university, particularly those playing in revenue-generating sports, would be able to unionize and get wages, potentially get benefits as employees of the school. And so coming out of this, Rick Pitino suggested that at least in the major conferences, he said that, for smaller conferences that, they only get their conference champion goes to the NCAA tournament. They don't get at-large bids. They can create their own salary cap. But for the major conferences, he suggests that there should be a salary cap between $1.5 to $2 million, and that players should be required to sign a binding 2-year contract, which I feel is an interesting concept. I don't really know what my opinion is of it yet, because this is very new It was a very new suggestion. I think he only suggested like yesterday is when this came out, or at least when it came across my desk. But an interesting concept for sure.
I mean, the universities need to pay up. Like, this is at least 100 years in the making. So it's about time. But, like, you know, and especially, I mean, the football players, the way it used to work anyway, before all the NIL stuff. Like, say you were a college football player and you suffered some sort of catastrophic injury and, you know, you needed medical treatment or whatever for the rest of your life. Guess who's paying for that?
Yeah,
You are.
yeah. No, I mean you're SOL in that situation.
Yeah, it's like,
And-
oh, good game, son. You know, just sweep him up and we'll replace him with somebody else. And that was just it, right? Like, you know, you're just screwed for life. But, you know, hey, great job on Saturday, though. So we're gonna need, you know, it's not like they don't have the money, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
there's plenty of money.
And you brought up NIL, which is an interesting wrinkle in this whole thing. Is, you know, when you're talking about a potential salary cap for the schools, is NIL factoring into that at all? Because I can't imagine
I
that
don't
it would.
think so,
No.
no.
I mean, the schools are not responsible for distributing name, image, and likeness funds.
NIL's
that
like
comes
your side
separately,
bread,
right?
You know,
So
Patrick Mahomes in the State Farm ads type of thing.
yeah.
Or Caleb Williams in the Fansville commercials, to be
Oh,
specific
yeah.
to college. Yeah.
But one thing that would be interesting about this is, you know, if we're talking about these, you know, when you throw in the wrinkle of the 2-year binding contract, does that mean that you can't do one and done in college anymore? Do you have to play that out before you go to the NBA?
I mean, I
Can
feel
you not transfer within your first 2 years?
I don't know, and I don't know that I care that much, but my preference would be, you know, guys should have to stay at least 2 years, if not 3, right? Like, you know, this, if we're still pretending that this is college, who goes to college for a year and then goes to get their job after that?
Yeah, but again, like, you also have to take into consideration when when we're talking about students who transfer, there's a lot of different reasons for students to transfer.
Yes.
And, you know, they're not all the same. For some of them, it is as simple as I'm not getting as much playing time as I thought I would at this school, and there's a promise of more playing time at this other school.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, the coach that recruited me, you know, I didn't realize that they were that close to the end of their tenure. They got fired, they retired, they left for other reasons. You know, and I don't feel wanted and valued by the new coaching staff that's coming in, or I know that this other coaching staff somewhere else will value me, and so I don't want to take any risks staying here with this coaching staff, so let me get out of here. And for some of them, you know, we don't hear about this as often because usually all the attention on transfers is on those who are very talented. But sometimes you also have student athletes who transfer because there are better academic opportunities at another school. The fit at the university is not right where they're at, and they feel like another university will be a better fit for them as a whole. So there's a lot of different reasons to transfer,
Certainly,
and are
yeah.
we going to just blanketly state that, you know, if you're coming into college to play basketball and you're going to be an employee of the school and you're going to get a salary as an employee of the school and you're going to sign a contract because of that, you're locked into that university for a minimum of 2 years or whatever number they decide to come up with.
I mean, that's how business works, though, right? Like, if you want to be an employee, if you want to be paid, that's kind of what comes with the territory, right? Like,
But to be fair, how many companies sign you to multi-year contracts outside of sports? Obviously, you know, obviously this is normal in sports. You know, when
Yeah.
you look at the NFL, NBA, MLB, anything, you know, you get a contract anywhere from 1 year to, in some cases, 11 years.
1 year.
Did I say 1 year?
Mhm.
Whatever. Regardless. Right? Like you sign that contract and you are under contract for that number of years. But even then, you know,
You can
it's,
throw a
it's
temper
very
tantrum and
interesting
get traded.
because the player has very little control over breaking that outside of retirement, right? Like you can certainly try and throw a temper tantrum and force your hand or force your employee's
James
hand
Harden
and get
did it
and get traded.
16 times.
But the players who actually have that kind of pool are few and far between,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas a team can just say, you know what? I'm just going to cut you. And yes, I'm going to be penalized financially, but I'm willing to swallow whatever penalty there is for doing that. And we're just going to get rid of you. So I
like Antonio Brown.
I don't know. Outside of sports, though, I mean, do you guys sign multi-year contracts with your employers? Because I know I'm on a 1 year at a time contract. I sign
1 year at a time.
I sign a new contract every year. Now there's an
I'm at will, dude. Like,
what in the world?
I feel a certain amount of expectation that, assuming I'm continuing to do a good job, I'm going to get offered a contract for the following year. But I'm also, I also understand that in some ways I'm at the mercy of the economy. How many people want to continue paying to send their kid to a private school?
This is ridiculous. Talk to somebody across the street. What is going on? 1 year at a time? How are you supposed to plan your life? Right? Like, say you just bought a house or something.
Are you under contract?
No.
Well, then what are you talking about?
You don't sign a contract to get a salary?
No.
I don't sign a contract either. I'm not under contract. I'm at will.
Yeah.
It's at will
I can
employment.
leave whenever I want, and they can
fire
send me up the
whenever they
road
want. Yeah.
whenever they want.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's no contract here. No.
Contract.
You don't sign something when you get a raise?
I signed my PAR, my performance review or whatever. That's it.
That's not a contract?
No. I don't sign a contract. I don't have a contract. I'm not a contract
Well,
employee.
okay, but then what legal basis would you have if you find out that your employer is stiffing you? They're not giving you as much money as you agreed that you would work to be paid. What legal avenue do you have to fight that if you don't have a contract that states this is how much I'm being paid?
I have a stated salary.
Yeah.
And if they're not paying me my stated salary, then
And
yeah.
you sign that and they sign that?
I know how much I'm supposed to be making, yeah. But that's what they've told me I'm making. They could easily tell me I'm not making this much anymore, and then I would quit my job and go somewhere else, and they would look really bad. But, it's bad business to stiff your workers.
It's a scintillating conversation on a sports podcast.
I mean, this is your fault.
It
Bad
is my
business
fault.
to stiff your workers. That should be the title right there. Like,
Come on.
looking at you, Mason, Ohio, McDonald's, for example.
God. And Taco Bell with the sign on the floor.
Yes, that sign was on the ground.
It was sitting in the parking lot, not above the parking lot.
Like, like alongside the interstate, they have the really tall fast food signs. Yeah. Well, the Taco Bell one in Mason, Ohio fell off and was sitting on the ground.
So
it
is there
fell
just
off,
like
or
a
they just never
pole
put-
with nothing on it?
Yeah,
It
and then
was.
the Taco Bell's are they sitting on the sidewalk or on the street?
And
in the
it's
parking lot.
gigantic.
Yes, it was a gigantic Taco Bell sign.
Yeah.
And it was not open, by the way, of course.
To be fair, how would you even put that back up there?
I don't
You
know.
get a crane or something. They eventually did. The
Yeah.
next time we were out there, it was back.
Well, not we.
Well, him.
Yeah.
I asked him
we.
about it. I was running around New Jersey and New York.
Yeah. But yeah,
Anyway.
it was. What are we supposed to be talking about?
Union
Basketball?
We're supposed to be
players
talking about the players being paid.
Oh,
and
yeah.
unions.
Get them their money and let them unionize because,
Get that money.
the NCAA has been screwing over college
Yeah, so get rid
athletes
of the
for
NCAA.
far
That
too
was-
long.
That was one thing I liked about Rip Pitino's idea was that he said basically this is going to be no NCAA anymore.
Oh, you
They
mean,
gotta go.
You mean Rick Pitino doesn't like the double NCA?
Yeah, I know.
He does not do that
The
anymore?
double NCA.
The NNCA? Yeah. The National whatever
Oh,
College
boy.
Association? Yeah.
Naysayers Association.
Let a naysayer know, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Corey was swift to write that title down.
Yeah, so the NCAA only has one rule in that the NCAA has to exist. That's the only rule.
It also
Right.
only has one N.
That's
Yes,
all.
it only has one end.
No naysayers here.
No. So yeah, good for the Dartmouth players.
Yeah,
And this will-
Northwestern tried this a few years back, and it failed.
And somehow it didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know why we had to go to the Ivy League to get this
They'll
stuff.
try it again now.
Yeah. There's nothing in college football. College basketball. We're gonna go ahead and not start with the Yellow Jackets. Because I got one of their alerts the other day and it was ugly. So
Tell me about it.
the Terps in their last 8 games have won 2, then lost 2, then won 2, and lost 2. So consistent. Coming off losses.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah. Coming off losses against Michigan State and at home against Rutgers in the past 4 days. Is Rutgers good?
No.
Of course they're not.
No. Maryland was an 8-point favorite yesterday.
When was the
They're
last
not.
time that Rutgers was good at basketball? When was the last time that Rutgers was good at
They
sports?
made the tournament last year.
Did they?
They had a
Oh, yeah, they
scrappy
did.
team, yeah.
Did Wasn't Eddie Jordan their coach for a little while?
Yeah, for about 5 minutes.
Oh, was he bad?
I mean, he's at Rutgers. What can you do?
I mean,
You're coaching Rutgers.
he's doing the best he can, I guess.
Yeah, and the best he could was not good enough, and he's not there anymore.
Oh, okay. They'll hope to get a win at Ohio State on Saturday.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Is Ohio State good? I don't even know.
Haven't they been like on the bubble of being ranked most of this year? I think
don't know.
they were in the 20s at one
You're
point this
asking me
season.
this.
I don't think they are now. But,
Actually, you act like I watch college basketball other than the Terps.
no,
Like,
they're
be
in their
serious.
conference.
So?
Y'all have already played Ohio State
No, we
this season,
haven't.
haven't you?
No,
What?
that hasn't happened.
There's 19 teams in the Big Ten. No.
Yeah, and you play everybody twice.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
We haven't played Ohio State yet.
Huh. Oh yeah.
I forget that their basketball team exists. I just associate them with football.
They've
They've made the tournament like the last few years.
Not really.
They were a 2 seed like 2 or 3 years ago.
They were a
3
2
years ago,
seed
like that.
in 2010 when they beat Georgia Tech.
They were
J.D.
definitely a
Sullinger
2
or
seed more
whatever his
recently
name
than
is.
that as well.
J.D. Salinger.
There's
No.
Jared Sullinger, right? That's a guy, right?
Evan Turner was on that Ohio
Oh,
State
Evan Turner.
team.
Okay, well, Jared Sullinger's a guy from Ohio State. I know that. But yeah, Evan Turner has a terrible podcast.
Oh, okay.
He's not suited for radio or TV
Oh,
or
dear.
basketball because he was bad at that too.
So what is it good at?
I don't know. He was criticizing somebody's speaking voice at one point. I'm like, listen to you, man. You sound terrible. Yeah, Jared Sullinger last played for the Celtics.
Yes, they were a 2 seed in 2021.
2020. That was a fake year. There was
was
no fans
3
in the
years
stands.
ago.
Doesn't matter.
Georgia Tech was in that tournament.
Yeah.
You know, we made it.
Is that the year that y'all made it because you won the ACC by default?
Yes. Hey, we won the ACC. It was by default or not, right? We served our postseason ban.
It was, to be clear.
Well, we served our postseason ban in 2020, right? The
Y'all
postseason
got
did
in
start.
trouble.
The postseason did start.
That's total nonsense.
The
Postseason started why? Because the first day of the ACC tournament happened, and then and Rudy Gobert shut the world down.
Yeah.
And so that's good enough.
That's good enough,
Good enough.
apparently.
yeah.
Unbelievable. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the most scam-tastic NCAA tournament berth of all time.
It is.
Well,
y'all were supposed to serve a postseason ban.
We did.
No, you didn't really.
Well, that's why what's happening now is happening now to Georgia Tech. They say
No,
ball
what's
don't
happening now
lie.
to-
They say ball don't lie, and they are 2-10 over the last 12 games.
No, what's
We
happening
just
to them is a product of them just not being good.
No.
That's normal.
I do find it hilarious that the 2 wins that they've had in that stretch, UNC, and the team that just beat UNC the other day, Clemson.
I mean, I don't care about Clemson, but you know.
I mean, beating North Carolina is what we do, right? Eric knows.
Apparently, I know that. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
you
We-
do know
yeah,
that.
was-
What are you talking about? Oh, yeah.
I know. 'cause
Did you
I
see
was
the
there.
holding penalty or whatever?
You know I saw that because I yelled an expletive at it, and you weren't even looking at it. Your boy Ross saw it too.
Yeah, I was-
You were snoozing. I don't know where you were.
I was
the whole stadium.
daydreaming.
Like, "Rah!" And I was just like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
That guy was holding.
I zoned out for a
That
second.
Drake May intentional grounding that they said he was out of the pocket, even though he stepped right into the pocket as he threw the ball. I got mad about that too.
Oh.
I was getting fired up on behalf of your Yellow Jackets.
I mean, you know, you need to, lower your expectations, I guess. I don't know.
That had nothing to do with your team, though.
Oh,
It had to do with the refs. Just make the calls, man. And y'all won.
we did win.
Don't know how that happened.
It's a miracle.
Drake May was throwing ropes too.
Yes, he was. He was incredible
It's
that
like,
night.
how are y'all gonna
Triple option for the win.
They didn't run
We
the
don't
triple.
run the triple option anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
It's been
finally
like
quit
5
it?
years.
well, Paul Johnson hasn't been the coach for a while. We got stickers of his face.
Yeah.
I gave one to you.
You did.
Do you still
Probably
have
still here.
it? Yeah, better still be here. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I probably have it here somewhere.
Anyway.
I didn't even go there. They were giving them out. I was like, oh, take one, sure.
Anyway. So yeah, Georgia Tech men's basketball sucks. We're playing at Louisville and at Notre Dame. So, maybe we'll win eventually.
Maybe. We'll
Probably
see.
not, though. Just 4 upsets in the top 10 this week. The fewest we've seen in well over a month. 4 Houston lost at 8 Kansas. 12 Iowa State lost at 18 Baylor. 4 Kansas lost at Kansas State. It was Kansas? Oh,
So Kansas moved
won
up
one
after
and then
being,
lost.
After being Houston, they moved up from 8 to 4, and then they lost.
No, okay. Well, they're
That's
going
because
back
that's
down.
what they do. Every time that they get back into that conversation of being a 1 seed in the tournament, they turn around, they lose a game they shouldn't lose, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, no, this isn't a 1 seed."
Just win the Big 12 tournament and they'll be fine.
No. Okay. And North Carolina lost to Clemson. We talked about that. Apparently, North Carolina beat Duke on Saturday.
Yeah, I watched that game.
What was I was going to say, what was I doing on Saturday?
You know where we were.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't watching this.
Busy running around East Rutherford.
Mm-hmm.
7 o'clock on a Saturday. Do your parents know where you are?
Gigantic mall.
Yes. I think we might have seen a third of the mall.
Yeah, we definitely didn't see like even half of it. Place is huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's huge.
I guess we'll get to that in the other topics or whatever after everything else. Upcoming ranked matchups of interest, very specific. Tonight at 7 on ESPN2, 16 Alabama at 12 Auburn. Interesting.
Yeah. Usually, we think of this as a big football rivalry matchup, but now we got both of them in the top 25 for basketball.
For those of us that are cultured call that the Iron Bowl, but
Yes.
Well, yeah.
it's not you, so.
Get your shots in while you can before you give me your money.
That's right. I'm doing that. I already tweeted that I'm not worrying and just learning to lose my money to you. You know how this is.
Alabama wasn't even ranked 2 weeks ago when they beat Auburn 79-75.
Yeah. Now they're all the way up to 16. So
yeah, he thought this was it's a pretty big deal in football, but men's basketball too.
This year,
Pretty
it is.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both programs have been pretty strong the last few years. Bruce Pearl and what's the goofball's name from Alabama?
Avery Johnson,
No, it's not Avery Johnson.
the guy who took over for Avery Johnson.
Did he take over for Avery Johnson?
I have no idea.
I don't know. But currently, Auburn is winning at halftime 55-41. So not looking great for the Tide.
Oh, well.
Tide are getting rolled right now.
I mean, anyway. And then Saturday at 6 on ESPN, 13 Baylor at 4 Kansas.
Nate Oates is the coach for Alabama.
Nate Oates.
There you
Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce
so,
Pearl.
Yes.
Auburn.
So just mentioned Kansas getting the win to bump up into the top 4, which is where they still are, but probably not after this
We'll
week.
see what happens Monday. Yeah.
Even if they get this win against Baylor, they're not going to stay at 4 after losing to Kansas State. That's not going to happen. But there's certainly no guarantee that Baylor has a great shot at winning this. They've lost 3 in a row, or they lost 3 in a row back in January. They've won their last 3, including wins against Iowa State and Texas Tech in the past 4 days. That's kind of a tough stretch to then bounce back and also beat Kansas. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay. Saturday at 8:30, 5 Tennessee at 10 Kentucky.
Yeah, both teams coming off losses to unranked opponents. So see what happens there.
Sunday at 1 on CBS. Number 2 Purdue at 6 Wisconsin.
That one was
That
from
was
last week.
last week.
Yeah, that one's from last week.
Okay.
Purdue won that game.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't watch that either.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah, Tennessee beat Kentucky too. That's last week's too. My bad.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
So what games are
That's
still
it.
coming up?
It's just those two. Those two are the ranked matchups of interest.
Okay. Women's college basketball. Lady Terps 13-10, 1-1 since our last show. They lost. to
Yeah,
Iowa.
they got out to a pretty surprising and substantial early lead. They were winning by like 9 points early in that game against Iowa on Saturday. Iowa called a timeout, and that was pretty much all she wrote.
Terps rallied late to try to make it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so Iowa had a 27-19 lead at the end of the first quarter, and Maryland outscored Iowa by 6 points in the second half, but they were down by 14 at halftime, so not nearly enough.
Oh.
But they did bounce back with a road win against Rutgers. So they play Illinois on Sunday, and then they get a week off before they face Penn State.
A week off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they play
Okay.
Sunday and then the following Sunday.
Interesting.
Nothing in between.
And they have stretches like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Lady Terps will go play Illinois. We just said that. Lady Jackets are 14-9. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Also 1-1. Apparently we've got Boat Race by Notre Dame, who's good.
Yeah. Ugly game.
Yeah, and got a road win against the Demon Deacons. The men can't say the same.
No, they can't.
They visit number 23 Syracuse tomorrow, then host Miami on Sunday. Top 10 upsets for the women. Those numbers are also down. 15 USC stuns number 4 Stanford. And number 2 Kansas State lost at number 12 Texas. Upcoming ranked matchups. Thursday at 6 on ESPN, 12 Notre Dame at 15 Louisville.
Yeah, Notre Dame has been on fire lately. In their last 3 games, they have a plus 77 point differential. And one of those 3 games was against UConn. So
And
another one was
against
against
Georgia Tech.
your Yellow Jackets.
We lost by almost 40.
Yeah, that was a pretty substantial part of that 77. But they beat UConn by 15, so that was not a narrow win against a pretty good ranked opponent. Louisville, meanwhile, is 3-3 against ranked opponents this season. They have not won or lost 2 consecutive ranked matchups at any point this season. So coming off of a 10-point loss against number 3 NC State on Monday, they'll hope that trend continues. And then they'll try to right that ship and maybe go back-to-back because they play not only Louisville, or rather Notre Dame on Thursday, but they play number 23 Syracuse on Sunday.
All right. Thursday at 8 on ACC Network, 16 Virginia Tech at 3 NC State.
Yeah, NC State is 20-2. They've been one of the more impressive teams in the country this year. One of their losses, though, was to this Virginia Tech Hokies team on January 7th. That was a surprising Virginia Tech win by 1 point, 63-62. So, now NC State has home court advantage. You would figure the script should be flipped. And they'll try and extend a 5-game winning streak they're currently on.
Okay. And then Sunday at 2 o'clock, 11 UConn at 1 South Carolina. South Carolina 21-0.
Yep, still the only unbeaten team in college basketball. In most years, this would be a premier matchup. This would be must-watch basketball.
Why isn't is this on television somewhere?
It probably is, and I just forgot to write down what network it might be on. I wouldn't be surprised if they put it on ESPN. But
Ain't nothing else on.
UConn is very injury riddled, which is going to make this a really tough task, especially being on the road. They also have not beaten a ranked opponent higher than 18 this season. And last I checked, one is substantially higher than 18 in the rankings. So this does not bode well for UConn. I think that South Carolina is going to wipe the floor with them. I'm thinking this is probably going to be a 15 or 20 point margin of victory for South Carolina, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what Gino can have his girls do.
Yes. I believe that is it for college basketball. On to Major League Baseball and de Ozhan. Little update on Eric. We have confirmation he's still a hot little potato over the Corbin Burns acquisition.
That's correct. As you should be too. I don't understand why am I sitting here the only one that's like this?
Well, because
What's happened to you?
the Super Bowl's not over yet, and the
So?
Ravens aren't in it. So,
You're ready to move on.
I would like to move on, but the Super Bowl hasn't happened yet. So I'm still stuck in limbo.
Well, I'm not. I'm ready for
Well, your
baseball.
team
ready
got
for baseball,
bounced
too.
2 months ago.
Okay, and your team got bounced 2 weeks ago. So what's the problem? Give it the times, man.
Accept the invite to the Fantrax League.
All right, that thing. It's got buried in my emails.
I don't even know what that is. It's just,
Yeah.
it's somewhere in my emails. and I'm just
Don't
like,
don't accuse me of reading my emails, Corey. Come on.
don't do that.
Yeah, very excited for the Corbin Burns acquisition myself. The Orioles rotation, I think for the first time in my time as an Orioles fan, like there's expectations that they might be good. Corbin Burns, Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, John Means, and Dean Kramer being the last guy.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
You
This is
know,
the first time you guys have ever had like a good pitcher on your staff who wasn't like a reliever
I mean, that's not
in
true.
your lifetime.
That's
mean-
definitely not true.
didn't Jim Palmer try to come back since I was born? Wasn't that in
Yeah, but
'91?
he didn't, though.
Oh, okay.
But Mike Mussina
Mike
pitched for
Mussina.
He was a
Cena.
Yankee.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame as a Yankee.
No, he's
He's
not. in the
not-
Hall of
he's
Fame
got a
as
blank
anything.
hat.
He's got a blank hat.
You know
It's
this.
a Yankee hat.
It's,
It is not.
No, it's not.
He has stated that for all intents and purposes it's a Yankee hat.
No, he
He
has.
has definitely not stated that.
He's stated nothing of the like. No, this is the best pitcher the Orioles have had since Mike Mussina
Yeah.
was an Oriole back in the 90s. You know, that was on a very famous TV show. But
Very good, Bojack.
Cory gets it. Yeah, it's one of those things where it just goes to show how adding one pitcher at the top just makes every slot better because everybody moves down one. Like Kyle Bradish, there was questions of, is that guy actually an ace? Well, now he doesn't have to be. He's a number 2, and we all agreed he's certainly good enough to be a number 2. Grayson Rodriguez showed potential to become an ace, although he hasn't put together a full season yet.
No, but he was pretty consistently good during the second half of
Yeah,
last
when he
season.
got recalled after that first stretch where he had a really rough start.
Giving up.
Well, he made some
points to
adjustments.
Shohei
There was
Ohtani.
an article I was reading. I want to say it was in the Atlantic, but I forget exactly.
Athletic.
Maybe it was. I forget exactly where I read
There's- Yeah.
it. They also publish some sports stuff on the Atlantic from time to
I
time.
know. I'm just
But-
saying it's more likely you'd find it on there.
Regardless, whatever site I was reading it on, somebody did a little bit of a breakdown on pitchers who had a really good second half of the season
Yeah.
last year and whether they feel like that could be sustained.
Yeah.
And the consensus on Grayson Rodriguez was that they feel like it can be sustained. It
Sure.
was a definitive change in his approach, in some of his mechanics that can absolutely be replicated and continued, and should lead to sustained success for him.
And when you-
Hopefully for the Orioles' sake.
When you consider the fact that he was the number 1 pitching prospect in baseball, that's kind of expected, right?
Yeah.
When you see a guy struggle for 10 starts, like in his first 10 starts in the show, you kind of, figure, okay, what's his profile say? And if he struggles but then gets better, you figure, okay, you're expecting the better part to continue. You're not
Yeah.
expecting that to be the aberration. So,
Yep.
and he's, there's less pressure on him to, he's the 3rd starter in the rotation. So, he's not going to be asked to go out there and be the ace of the staff. So, he's going to have an opportunity to continue to improve his game. We know about John Means coming off of Tommy John. Couldn't pitch last year in the postseason because he was still dealing with elbow soreness. But, if he's able to stay healthy, we know what he's capable of. Like, when he pitched last year for the few starts he made,
He made 4 starts.
he was very good, though.
And he was fantastic in 2022 as well.
Well, before
No.
he got hurt.
He wasn't great because the elbow was
it
barking.
was it 2021 then?
2021 was when he threw the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And he was an
He
all-star in
He
2019.
was on my fantasy
Yes.
roster at that point.
Yes,
Like
and
it
they
started for
didn't
that
have
game.
all-stars in 2020. So.
No, they did not.
But yeah, like that's a really good top 4. Dean Kramer has shown that he can have moments where he's pretty good, and when he's your 5th starter,
Sometimes that's all you can ask when of a 5th starter.
yeah,
is
and
to have
he's
some
not going to
moments
be
where you're good.
he's not going to be asked to go out there and pitch a playoff game now if the Orioles make it, which is a savings grace because we watched what happened in Game 3.
Well, I didn't watch. I knew that was
I
going to
watched.
We were
I didn't have to watch
toast.
long because we were toast. But Kramer in the 5th spot, he's certainly going to be a guy that's going to be able to go out there and he'll give you 5 to 7 innings every start. Sometimes it'll be bad, but sometimes it'll be good, and you'll take the good. Like last year's ERA was low 4s. You'll take that out of your 5th starter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, particularly in the American League and the American League East, like if you're a pitcher and your ERA's under 4, that's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You should be able to score 4 or 5 runs a night. This isn't like the NL Central or where it's 2-1 all the time. Like no, you have to hit the ball in the American League.
Yeah. And yeah, at least no joke. A lot of hitters parks, a lot of big bats, a lot of high-priced free agents. We know about Juan Soto now joining the Yankees along with Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Although Stanton hasn't, we'll see.
Is he on a Hall of Fame trajectory?
Not anymore. He's not.
Okay.
He was. Now he's not. So he was on the Hall of Fame trajectory for 10 years.
For the
Now he's not.
Marlins.
Nah, he is playing for the Marlins. The one sort of, I don't want to throw cold water on this too much, but DL Hall needs to be replaced.
Yes.
He was going to be, in my opinion, a key part of the bullpen with Felix Bautista missing the entire season. They were going to rely on him to hopefully take a leap or at least continue what he had shown at the end of last year as a relief pitcher. And now that option's gone. They signed Craig Kimbrell. Okay, fine. But he's not what he once was. Maybe he can have a resurgence, but the Orioles bullpen is a little thin now without DL Hall and with no Felix Bautista. That is something that needs to be rectified now that they've traded him for Corbin Burns.
Yes. I will say, though, bullpen guys, you feel like you can get bullpen guys anywhere, right? Like, the bullpen guys we've had have just, we got him, let's put him in the bullpen.
Okay, but think about but that doesn't necessarily mean that the guys that you get to replace them are going to work. We've also seen Brian Baker get use.
Oh.
And Joey Crable get use. And Keegan Aiken get use out of the bullpen.
I mean,
and that's been
they're not in the bullpen anymore, are they?
So, there's no guarantee you will actually, you can say, you can find bullpen guys anywhere, then why do we see perennial World Series contenders go into the post every year and be like, well, their bullpen's Achilles heel. Watch the Nationals do it every year.
They went deep in there wherever, and they found some people, right? Like, I never heard of Felix Bautista until he started just lighting up the radar gun. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I understand.
Right? He was in single A, and all of a sudden, he's closing for the major league team.
Okay, but you also can't just expect that to happen.
No. But, like, I can't expect that to happen or predict it, but, like, it happens, though.
Yes, there are options, but it still needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm saying is that there needs to be a solution to that problem. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm saying we just need to see it happen.
The 2014 or 16, I think 14 Orioles started the season with Tommy Hunter as the closer.
Yeah, and they had to replace him. They got lucky that Zach Britton ended up being all-world.
I mean, yeah. So, there's going to be somebody.
So Nick Vespe's going to step in?
No, not him. No, not him. Somebody else.
Keegan Aiken's going to have,
not him.
A career resurgence?
I saw him pitch one time. I'm like, this fat guy, he can't do it.
We were at that game together.
Well, not in Gwinnett, Georgia, right?
Oh, but we were at Oriole Park when he gave up 6 runs. The Orioles were up big. You were there.
Remember.
You were definitely there for that game.
Oh, I mean, probably.
You had to take a walk.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get so disgusted with these Orioles sometimes.
He must have just erased it from his mind during that walk.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about the Orioles I try to forget. Let's see. Our boy Hazy and
you don't even like him.
Yeah, not really. And Tyler Webb win.
Tyler Webb? Jacob Webb?
It's not
Tyler Webb.
Yeah, it's Tyler Webb.
Who is Tyler Webb?
The
pitcher.
The 6'8" pitcher, Rule 5 guy.
That's Tyler Wells.
Oh, well, then who's Webb?
Jacob Webb.
Who's Jacob Webb?
He was the guy we picked up in August last year, and somehow he had a Linsanity run. He didn't give up any runs.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
But he is a pitcher. Previously played for the Braves and the Angels.
What are we doing here?
I have no idea who Jacob Webb is. But congratulations to you.
He pitched on the team last year. The team that won 101 games. With a box of scraps. What are we doing here?
I thought you watch every game.
You didn't watch Jacob Webb, apparently.
We
were driving down the ocean, and the radio guy was calling him Big Game Jake, which doesn't rhyme, which is bothering me. So, yeah, that happened.
Okay.
You weren't paying any attention.
I guess not. But congrats to him. He's making $1 million instead of $925,000.
That's a nice little raise.
Yeah. 2 of 5 players to win their arbitration cases this week.
Yes, Hayes and Webb are 2 of the 5 who won their arbitration cases yesterday.
Joining Taylor Ward, Mauricio Dubon, and Phil Bickford.
I don't know who any of those guys are.
Well, you know who Taylor Ward is because he's actually pretty good for the Angels. He's an outfielder.
Why would you assume I know anybody on the Angels except for Mike Trout and formerly Shohei Ohtani? Or the Angels that used to give me nightmares in the mid-2000s, like Troy Glaus and guys like that.
You mean Mike
John
Trout and
Locke.
Shohei Ohtani, the guys who
Garrett
have never
Anderson.
hitting 3 home runs in a game?
It doesn't matter. They're still really good.
I just found it funny. This week on Twitter, they were doing what are the best tweets of all time? What are the best sports tweets? And one was something I love Angels updates because it's Mike Trout hit 3 home runs and Shohei Ohtani did something that nobody's done since 1926, and the Angels lost 8-3.
Mm-hmm. Every night it's
and I'm
that.
Almost, except that apparently, as I found out this week, the Angels have the longest stretch without a 3 home run game from a player, and it goes back to 2009 with Torrey Hunter.
Oh,
Torrey Hunter was a good ball player.
he was.
So, it's just funny. We have that in that image in our head of what the Angels games are like, and yet no, Mike Trout has not had a 3 home run game.
It's hard to hit 3 home runs.
Yeah. Sergeant,
hard.
a home run.
People do it against the Orioles all the time.
Yeah, Ryan Zimmerman did, and his team lost that game.
I was at that game.
People hit
That
4
was
home runs
that was
against
the
the
Chris
Orioles
Davis
sometimes.
T-shirt night
I
game.
was at that game too.
You were at that game too.
I witnessed it. I also watched Manny Machado hit 3 home runs at Oriole Park, and Mike Trout did not hit 3 home runs that night. I know that because the Angels lost. Because Manny Machado hit 3 home runs, including a walk-off grand slam.
Has Aaron Judge had a 3 home run game at Oriole Park?
I would be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah.
He must.
I'd be shocked too, but I'm not sure.
I'm confident that Aaron Judge is going to be the first righty to hit a ball on the Utah street. Right? Like that.
He
Why
could
hasn't
do it.
that happened yet?
He absolutely could.
No, I'm more afraid that Juan Soto is going to hit the warehouse.
yeah.
That's gonna be terrifying.
It's going to be interesting to see how that goes because the Yankees have not had the best luck with outfielders that they bring in from other teams.
So Jacoby Ellsbury wasn't the guy?
Jacoby Wan Kenobi was not the guy.
Jacoby Wakanobi.
You got to be kidding me. Well, Johnny Damon
Giancarlo
was pretty good,
Stanton
right?
hasn't been the guy.
Johnny Damon, right? He was all right.
Yeah,
But all right for y'all.
he was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was a while ago though. That was back when we were still like good,
Yeah, when you won
like
World Series.
consistently good.
Like I said, if y'all don't win the World Series, your streak's going to be too old for Coach Dolphin to date. So,
Oh, goodness gracious. It's getting close, right? It's been 15 years
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
The only Yankees news from this past week was them trading for Jake Ferguson, and I know his name is not Jake; it's Caleb Ferguson. He's a left-handed pitcher for the Dodgers. He'll bolster our bullpen, hopefully. A couple years ago, he went through the season with a ERA under 2, but he only played in like 6 or 7 games, I think. Last year, his ERA was in the 3s, which is respectable, but not like popping off the paper like, oh wow, I can't believe we got this guy. So just hopefully he's productive for us.
Jose Altuve got himself a little bit of money. 5 years, $125 million extension through his age 39 season.
Yeah, so he's probably at this point an Astro for life.
Yeah, he's probably going to ride that to retirement.
Yeah, and to Cooperstown. Yes, Pete. Clayton Kershaw, also on his way to Cooperstown, got a 1-year extension with a player option for 2025 with the Dodgers, recovering from off-season shoulder surgery. We'll miss about half of 2024. So, make of that what you will. Alrighty, is that it for all of the non-NFL?
I think so.
Pretty sure.
Okay. Eric has a biggest regret pick is watching even 2 minutes of the Pro Bowl.
I watched the whole thing. I watched all of Thursday and all of Sunday. It was
Garbage.
glorious.
It's not glorious.
It was fun.
I didn't even watch any of it.
Dudes were wearing sunglasses and floppy hats, throwing the ball around.
So?
It looks so stupid.
It was fun.
It was awful.
I enjoyed the flag
Oh
football.
my god.
I
It
enjoyed
was
all.
probably entertaining, right? Embarrassing.
I enjoyed the
But-
formats.
we just got done talking about a sport where people hit a ball with a stick and run around in a circle.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
It's a square, but
It's a diamond.
it's definitely who runs in corners, right? You don't go straight and then pivot immediately, right? You sort of
Yeah, you
loop
do.
around. But anyway, yeah. So he's this is embarrassing
Yes,
and ridiculous.
it was
It's just
stupid.
the guys having fun. Yeah, it's stupid.
that's really stupid.
This whole thing's stupid.
At least send them to Hawaii like they used to.
Well, yes, I agree.
Playing
They
Camping
need
World
to
Stadium.
fix up Aloha Stadium, and they need to go back to Hawaii because that's like that was
got $1
part of the
billion?
whole allure was like you get to go and do something like.
NFL's got $1 billion. You kidding me? Come on.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not offering, but the NFL absolutely has the money to do that.
Aloha Stadium is like, not only is it
They still play football games there, like
no,
renovated.
they don't.
Isn't that where the University of Hawaii
They
still
have an
plays their
on-campus
games?
stadium now.
Oh, they switched their stadium.
Aloha Stadium's been like condemned and stuff. Like they can't even find the money to
Well, then
demolish
play
it.
it at the Hawaii Stadium.
Yeah, do that.
Pay the University of Hawaii some money and use that.
Yeah,
The
play it
Rainbow
on an
Warriors.
aircraft carrier. That'd be cool. Is that big enough for a football field?
I don't know about that. It's like barely big enough to host like basketball games.
Okay.
I mean, just actually play a football game. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm fine with the format because I like they were never going to get it to where they were going to play a real football game for the Pro Bowl
No.
because the players don't want to get hurt. Understandably, like you're at the end of the season, you get hurt in that game, you're jeopardizing your next season.
I got it, Corey. That's not the point. The point is they're out there running around in shorts and sunglasses, just looking like idiots. Come
No,
on.
it's fun.
I feel like I was watching ESPN 8 The Ocho. It was terrible.
There's nothing wrong with what's on ESPN 8 The Ocho.
No, there is. There's a reason nobody watches that stuff except for that one day a year because it's like, oh, hey.
Well, that's the only day that they show that stuff. It's fun for that one day a year, and this was one day for the year.
So Eric doesn't like fun.
This is NFL players.
You just don't like fun.
I like
Just
fun.
admit it. You don't like fun.
You don't like fun. What are you talking about?
Eric knows that the NFL stands for No Fun League, and he demands that it stay that way.
And
Yes.
This season,
This is the No Fun League. Stop having fun.
This
Yes,
season
turn into a
sucks.
crusty old
I already
man.
told you.
Like, fast.
You watched none of it.
Yeah.
So
I
you
was
used to watch
working.
you were working on a Sunday?
Yes.
Back in my day,
used to
they
watch
used to
Pro
play
Bowls.
football games for the Pro Bowl, and nobody put forth any effort until one day Sean Taylor killed a punter.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
That was the best Pro Bowl highlight of all time. We're never going to see that again because they're out here playing flag football.
RG3 referenced it during the Pro Bowl this year.
Good for Robert Griffin III. Yeah. Good for him. Him and Jay Gruden are going to have another Twitter beef.
Spider 2-eye banana.
Which was the funniest Twitter beef of all time because it was like both guys are making great points because y'all were both bad at your jobs. You're like, Robert's right. Jay sucked. But Jay's also right. Robert sucked. He was great. I loved it. It was so great. Need more stuff like that. Just two guys who lack any self-awareness arguing with each other.
You know, I guess I have to put on here proudest pick is that I watched the Pro Bowl. It was fun.
Oh.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. I got my work
And I'm
done.
looking forward to the NFL honors tomorrow night.
Oh,
well,
that's tomorrow
actually
night.
worth something. So.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Keegan-Michael Key, I believe, is hosting again this year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be him or Peyton Manning. Just alternate them between
Yes.
the
Yes.
ESPYs
Yes.
and the NFL honors.
I'd be all
just
for
the
that.
two of them.
Yes.
I don't need to hear from anybody else.
I did enjoy the couple of years where Alec Baldwin hosted it. He did a
but
pretty good
then he
job.
killed somebody, so you can't really do him anymore.
I guess not.
I mean, why is that funny? That's what happened.
I'm not laughing because it happened. Obviously, it's tragic. I'm laughing because
You
would
clearly
use
said
that
that as a joke,
like-
right?
what?
I'm pointing out the obvious. He's not exactly socially acceptable.
It was
anymore.
not his fault. He was not at fault
He
for that.
pointed a gun at somebody and pulled the trigger.
It was part of the scene, and it was supposed to not fire. That was somebody else's fault.
Gun safety, basic gun safety.
Why are they
Triggers.
using real guns in movies?
I agree.
Can't you use like
when
a
you do that
airsoft
for
gun
a
or something?
scene in a movie or a TV show, you're pulling you're pointing it at the person.
You still have the responsibility to check the weapon to make sure it's not loaded. That's basic gun safety. Come on.
I mean, like when they do fight scenes and hit people with chairs and glasses and stuff. It's sugar glass and those flimsy chairs, right? It's not.
stunts. Yeah.
Yeah. So why was this gun loaded?
Because somebody else had it loaded and did not do what they needed to do to make sure that they were giving him
custody
This is. I mean,
still,
an
any
unacceptable
case.
disaster.
still happened.
Rest in peace to whoever got shot. Reminder, I guess, that I won the eliminated team contest because that's still written down in here.
How'd you do in the pick'em?
We don't need to worry about that. Let's see. The line for the Super Bowl, I guess we'll get into that now. The line is 49ers minus 2.5. The Chiefs are the designated home team.
Yep.
Will they be wearing red as a result?
They will be wearing red, same as they did 4 years ago when they were the designated home team against the 49ers.
Okay.
And won.
So it's Niners minus 2.5. I want the Niners to win, but I think the Chiefs are going to win. So there is my pick. And it's now time for y'all to pick.
Well, what's your score?
I need a score.
Yeah, you gotta have a score.
Uh,
You don't have to pick a score right now, but you guys do. You guys are gonna do a write up for the.
I need to
website.
write something.
Yeah, you need to write something for the website.
I didn't make
Oh.
that.
Yeah, I wrote something for the website. You
I'm
guys
so
gotta write something for the
tired.
website.
Been working and working every single day. Okay. I'll squeeze that in somewhere.
Do you want to make your score pick right now?
I have to
Just
have.
do it.
I'll think about it. Y'all will do the prop bets and I'll figure out a score.
Chiefs 24, 49ers 20.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've got Chiefs 31, 49ers 21.
Is that your Madden score?
That is my Madden score. Played my Madden simulation last night. My MVP is Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh. give me the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs hang 30 on the Niners, right? The Niners have been a little shaky, and the Chiefs will take advantage of that. So give me Chiefs 34, Niners 31 in overtime.
Overtime.
Because why not?
Okay.
Uh,
Who's your MVP?
Mahomes, Hine.
Eric?
Chris Jones.
You're on defense. Been a while since we've had a defensive player get MVP.
Chris Jones is the greatest playoff defensive player of this generation.
He's pretty fantastic.
Like, he takes over so many games. He's the Chiefs wouldn't be here without him.
He got one of
Any
the
of the last
Chiefs'
few years.
2 sacks in my, or one of the Chiefs' 3 sacks in my Madden sim.
Like, this just bothers me how good he is.
He's really good. Yeah, so talking more about the game matchup. I mean, this is interesting, like that all of us have the Chiefs on here, and obviously there's the whole, the line, you take the points in this situation, but part of what led me to this decision is just that Mahomes has been really good this playoffs after having a pretty lackluster regular season. He's turned it on over these last few weeks, so that gives me confidence that they can score some points. The 49ers defense has been a little bit beatable, particularly on the ground, which is part of the reason why, certainly I made my decision on the MVP based on the Madden sim. Pacheco went for 135 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. But I also think that Pacheco can have a really big game against this defense. And it's weird that I'm thinking this way and that I'm okay with going with a 10-point spread on this because the 49ers have the better offense as far as talent. They have the better defense overall as far as talents. They don't have the best playoff defender out there in Chris Jones, and they don't have the best playoff quarterback that we've seen in quite some time in Patrick Mahomes. But outside of those 2 players, like just about everybody else, you have to give the nod to the 49ers as having more talent across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Like, name any player on the Chiefs besides Chris Jones who's better than Fred Warner, who's better than Nick Bosa. I don't even know if there's a guy on their defense that I would say is definitively better than Chase Young. And we saw Chase Young give up on a play 2 weeks ago.
He's been kind of a non-factor.
And yet I would still say that.
The Chiefs secondary.
Maybe Drew Tranquil. Maybe.
Snead.
Yeah, Snead's fine.
Bolton.
These are all pros that we're talking about here.
On offense, who are you going to put over Deebo Samuel, over Brandon Ayuk, over Christian McCaffrey?
I mean,
Travis Kelce.
I don't know if I'm putting Travis Kelce over any of those 3 guys. I'll put him over Pacheco and over in general, and I'll put him over Kittle, but I'm not putting him over CMC, Ayuk, or Deebo.
I mean, I agree 100%. The 49ers should win this game.
I mean, yeah, they should.
They're not favorites.
They're not going to. Yeah.
Interesting stat that I found today. This is the 4th time in Super Bowl history that 2 head coaches are meeting for a second time. Nobody's ever played a third time with the same 2 coaches going head to head. Chuck Noll against Tom Landry. Chuck Noll won in Super Bowl 10, won again in Super Bowl 13.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Johnson against Marv Levy.
Yeah.
Won Super Bowl 27 and 28.
It was back-to-back years.
This is the Bill. It was the 4 Bills years. The Bills lost to the Giants, the then Redskins, and then the Cowboys back-to-back.
I thought the Cowboys were like the bookends.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, because the first one was wide right against the Giants. That was actually my parents' first date. Was that Super Bowl?
Okay.
And then you've got Tom Coughlin.
Wait, what? That
the Bills Giants Super Bowl was their first date.
Okay.
Yes.
Did they go to the Super Bowl?
No, it was a Super Bowl party.
And you were born a year later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Tom Coughlin and Bill Belichick.
Quick turnaround.
Yes.
Tom Coughlin wins Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46.
That's right.
Now you've got Andy Reid, who beat Kyle Shanahan in Super Bowl 54.
That's correct.
And is going to beat him in Super Bowl 58.
Yes.
Because whoever wins the first one always wins the second one every single time.
I mean,
That's how this works.
Kyle Shanahan has had this is the third biggest game this is the third Super Bowl he's coaching in, including as an offensive coordinator. And I pointed this out in 2016. I pointed it out in 2019.
He's over.
And I will point it out here. Once again, he is going into a Super Bowl where he has a more or less ordinary quarterback going up against an extraordinary quarterback, and it's going to cost him. Like, it cost him because, let's face it, Matt Ryan's a good player. Matt Ryan was,
MVP of the league that year.
That year.
Okay, but he
was incredible that year.
But he was more or less, in terms of ability, above average, but nothing special as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay? Jimmy Garoppolo, we've said all we need to say about him, and we've said what we need to say about Brock Purdy. The opponents were Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes twice.
Yeah.
And why did they lose to the Patriots? Because Tom Brady went Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, I mean, that to that end, it's a good point because you look at that season and you can say that Matt Ryan was definitively better than Tom Brady was during that season. There's a reason why he was the MVP. But during the playoffs...
He was the MVP because Brady didn't play all 16 games. Let's not get it twisted.
During the playoffs, Tom Brady was clearly the better performer. And that's what we're seeing this year. I would say that Brock Purdy was better than Patrick Mahomes was during this regular season.
Sure.
And not by a particularly small stretch.
No.
But Mahomes has been definitively better in the playoffs. He's turning it on when it counts the most because that's what Mahomes does.
Because he's great.
Yes.
Brock Purdy's just a guy.
Yeah. Brock Purdy did not look impressive for almost the entire Packers game. You say, oh, well, Debo got hurt early, and so he didn't have that weapon, and maybe that played into a yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? He had Debo for the entire game against the Lions, and he was unimpressive against the Lions. The 49ers came back in the second half. Woohoo. It was not because of Purdy. It was because of the rest of the team. It was because the defense finally got a couple of stops. It was because Christian McCaffrey started going bananas.
It's because Jameer Gibbs grasped the ball. It's because a ball doinked off of some dude's helmet, and now you caught it.
Like, the only thing that you can point to Purdy on the second half was that he was running wild, and the Lions absolutely refused to stop him. It was the same thing that happened in the Super Bowl last year, where the Eagles absolutely refused to tackle Patrick Mahomes, who was on a bum ankle.
That's pretty bad.
It was ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, we agree that what's going to happen is Brock Purdy's going to cost him this Super Bowl, and Tom Brady's going to come out of retirement and play for the 49ers next year.
I can't do that. He has to play for the Raiders.
That's nonsense.
He's a part owner.
I don't care. Let's sell his share.
Michael Jordan came out of retirement. He was part owner of the Wizards, right?
Yeah, but he played for the Wizards.
But then he played for the Wizards.
Right.
Yeah.
But he had to sell his portion of the Wizards to play for the Wizards,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, whatever.
He'll-
But anyway, like the 49ers, again, they have advantages in the matchup. Like, they should be able to run all over the Chiefs with Christian McCaffrey, who's the best running back in the league.
And the Chiefs have one of the worst
Yeah,
run
they have
defenses.
a bad run defense.
John Harbaugh.
Couldn't figure out. Yeah.
Nope.
He should be fired. So, yeah, like there's no reason the 49ers should lose this game other than the fact that they're playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs just seem to bring out the worst in their opponents. Like, that just seems to be the way these things go. And I have, if the Ravens couldn't get it done, why would I trust the 49ers with Brock Purdy-licious? I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
From what I've seen in the playoffs, when the Lions and the Niners won their divisional games, I'm like, yeah, these teams are good, but their quarterbacks can be a liability sometimes. Mm-hmm. Not that they are all the time, but, they're not guaranteed to be the reason why you win. I thought Purdy was a little pumpkin-y. Both games, to be honest. But the Packers game was like, this guy was the MVP front runner, really? Like, he's not doing anything.
So disappointed the Lions did not win that game. We could have had bookends, Lions-Chiefs, for the season.
I would have been stoked if the Lions.
That would have been
pretty cool. I don't know. It could happen. Maybe.
Well, no, it can't happen anymore because the Lions lost.
Well,
it's not going to happen next year either because the Lions aren't going to play in the opening game of the season, most likely. If the Chiefs win this game, the Lions can't play in the opening game because the Chiefs already played against the NFC North this year. They're not going to play against the NFC North again.
Yeah.
Unless they happen to, be that extra...
the 17th game?
The 17th game.
But it's going to alternate, right?
Well, it alternates, and I don't remember what division it would
But
be against, but I don't think it would be the North again.
Either
I
way,
don't think it would be against the number one seed.
year, right? Like it's whoever finished in the same place as
you
the
in
Chiefs.
one of the other divisions besides the one that you play against, but I don't think it would be
it'd be
against
the
the one
division
that
you played against
last year.
2 years
Right?
ago.
Yeah.
So whatever
If
division
anybody
they played,
listening can actually follow that.
nobody's listening. Come on.
Who cares?
Yeah, I think Purdy can be a liability sometimes. He seemed a little shook, you know, and this is kind of the biggest football game of anybody's life. So, you know,
So
you can't be
far.
shook. Yeah. So that's why I'm going Chiefs. Anything else?
No. I think we're ready for some props.
Alrighty.
Some props.
So
I'll win some props.
I
yeah.
said make some props.
Oh.
I didn't say win. You know I'm not gonna win.
All right. So y'all's tiebreaker question.
Oh, that's right. We gotta do that too.
Yeah. Just.
This is my Super Bowl right here. Is winning the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Because I'm not winning the prop.
Yeah.
bet,
So
I'd be
phones down. Phones down.
Oh,
devastated.
okay.
Phones down.
Yes, phones
I
down.
thought we were going to be texting you the answer.
Well, I don't get the text messages in this this you know, concrete bunker. So yeah, write it on some paper. And I need I need y'all to come up with how many Instagram followers do I have?
On Coaster Evan.
Yes.
Okay.
Follow at coaster_Evan on Instagram. They are writing, maybe? There's thinking happening.
Play the Jeopardy music for me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do the round number there.
Okay. Eric's got his number. Eric says 200. Corey, your number.
I just had to do that because I know that Eric can't whistle.
You're a dick.
I can't whistle either. 567.
I thought that was a little high.
Yeah, this is the correct answer is 277. So Corey
You're a
was
Super Bowl.
way off. I mean,
I gave you credit.
I didn't know you thought I had this much coaster clout.
I mean, you've gone on a couple of things with other coaster enthusiasts and done pretty well in their competitions. I figured maybe that would have earned you some more following.
Got me to 277. I'm surprised I have 200. Yeah. So, congratulations, Eric.
One of the best SpongeBob episodes.
Yes, it is a great SpongeBob episode. Love
I
it.
think it was voted one of the best TV moments ever.
It probably should have been. It was great.
Yeah.
Mayonnaise is not an instrument.
All right.
All right.
What?
You not seen the episode? Come on.
No.
We spent the
No,
whole weekend
Patrick.
making-
Horseradish isn't an instrument either.
Yeah. Come on.
All right, so you get to pick your first prop.
I get to figure out
Yeah,
which
you
bet
get
I'm
to
going
pick
to
the
lose
first
first.
prop.
I love it.
There you go.
It's so good. Well, all right. The only one I ever win. You know which one I'm picking.
You're taking the national anthem.
I'm
one.
taking the national anthem over under 90.5 seconds. So it has to be more than a minute and a half. Reba McEntire, country music legend, is singing. 90.5 is a little low, at least historically. Normally it's close to 2. Last year it was over 2 minutes was the estimated time, and it was a photo finish.
So would you like some context to this? Because I have some context for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Hit me with
So
some
the over-under actually opened at like 82 and a half seconds.
So it's
And has grown to 90 and a half. Part of the reason that it started so low was because Reba McEntire sang the national anthem for Game 1 of the 1985 World Series and did it in 65 seconds.
That was 40 years.
Yeah, I know.
85?
Just follow me.
In Kansas City.
A couple years later, Game 3 of the 1987 World Series in, do you know?
87.
Yeah. Game 3?
Oakland.
No, it was Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Did it in 82 seconds
No, it wasn't. The World Series.
in 87. It said
Cleveland?
Cleveland when I read it.
The Cleveland, the Guardians
Yes.
were in the World Series in 1987.
That's what it said, was that she was singing in Cleveland.
Sounds.
Why was she singing?
She was singing one of the two in Cleveland. It was either 85 or
It wasn't
87.
the Super Bowl, so you know.
In
Yeah.
any case. No, not the Super
Well,
Bowl.
if the internet
Yeah.
worked in here,
Anyway,
I'd looked it up.
so 65 seconds in 85, then 82 seconds in 87.
Okay.
As far as Super Bowl, performances go, because that's really what we're talking about here. And
Yes.
most people sing the national anthem faster at other events than they do at the Super Bowl,
Yes, it's
even
the
when it is
Super
a
Bowl.
big, even when it is a big event like the World Series.
Even if when it's a big
Since
Super Bowl.
2007, when they started tracking how long singers took to sing it, the shortest was Kelly Clarkson's 94 seconds in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So, over or under 90 and a half.
I mean, this is an easy choice. I'm taking the over. I get odds on it. You gotta be kidding me. Life's too short to bet the under. I'm not. Come on.
Okay.
This is my one win. Take it to the bank.
We'll see.
Twins Cardinals in 1987.
So not Cleveland.
Yeah, why would it have been in Cleveland?
Well, I don't know.
Hubert
all
H.
right.
It's in a dome, like it's indoors. What?
So, my first
Cleveland.
choice is going to be, will both teams have the lead at some point in the fourth quarter? Odds on that are plus 250 that both teams will at some point in the fourth quarter have a lead, minus 325 no. Well, both teams had multiple fourth quarter leads in my Madden sim, plus I get the odds, pretty substantial odds. So I am definitely taking yes on that.
Okay. I would have taken yes too, so I'm kind of mad. All right. My next one, I will do. Let's do the hoops one. I kind of like that one. Those are fun. Total first half points in Super Bowl LVIII. Or total points
Or
by
58, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, I just felt like reading it. Or total points by Jimmy Butler versus the Celtics for the entirety of that basketball game, which gives me a plus 115 odds. Odds be damned, I'm taking the total first half points in the Super Bowl because Jimmy Butler doesn't care about the regular season, so he might not even play.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm taking the Super Bowl points minus 145.
Well, hopefully he does play, because I would have taken Jimmy Butler anyway.
I wouldn't.
And the reason for that is because in my Madden sim, there was a total of 17 points in the first half.
That's probably all he's going to score for the entire
So,
game.
yeah, I would take Jimmy Butler anyway. So I'm fine with Eric taking that one. That was actually going to be my second choice, was to take Jimmy Butler in that one. So I'll move on to my third choice, which is the longest touchdown of the game. Will it be scored by the Chiefs, plus 116, or the 49ers, minus 142? In my Madden sim, the longest touchdown of the game was an 83-yard touchdown run by Isaiah Pacheco. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs for the longest touchdown of the game.
I doubt Pacheco's breaking an 83-yard touchdown run in this game. But, yeah. Cool. Okay, my next one. Will the team that scores first win the game? Yes, minus 188. No, plus 152. I think the 49ers are going to score first because, that's what they do. And the 49ers are not going to win the game, so I'm going to take the no, plus 152 odds on that one.
Okay. Cool with that, because that was on my list of ones I was going to take the yes on. It was a little bit lower on my list just because the odds were not in my favor. Minus 188, not a whole lot of money to be won there. But I had the Chiefs scoring first in the game with a field goal, 37-yarder by Harrison Butker, and then I had them ultimately winning by coming back in the fourth quarter. So there you go. Let's move on to my next pick. Is going to be, let's go with, I'll put this on the wrong one. Let's see. Shoot, where was that supposed to be?
Should be an on-the-clock situation here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay.
Or
So I'm
some
going to take
Jeopardy
the over-under 4.5 different players score a touchdown in the game. Now, this does not include the passer on receiving
You
touchdowns.
got to score the touchdown.
You got to
I got
actually cross the plane.
Touchdown.
I had 6 different players scoring touchdowns in my Madden sim, so I'm, of course, taking the over. It also gives me better odds, plus 105 for the over, minus 140 on the under. So, yeah, I'm taking the over there.
All right, I'm going to do the total yardage of all the tutters.
That was
which
my
is
next pick.
Even odds.
Yep.
And The total yardage is 73.5. And we're gonna have even odds on this one because it was
minus 110 on over and under.
Yeah.
So we'll just make it even.
I'm going to take let's see, I have a score of 24-20, which implies 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. So that would mean that it'd have to be an average of about 14 yards or a little more than 14 yards for that to happen. That's a lot of yards. I'm going to take let's get cute. Let's take the over. Life's too short to bet the under. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the over on that one, so smart of you to take that. Obviously, with me getting the 83-yard touchdown run by Pacheco, that automatically does it.
That away.
But I also had 7 touchdowns total in my Madden sim, so there you go. All right, well, that's the first one I'm a little bit disappointed about, but
okay. Maybe I'll actually win that one.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so next up, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult to pick. There's 3 left. I'm going to go with, will any player score 2+ touchdowns? And while the odds, the money's not there, I'm going yes. As I mentioned, I had Isaiah Pacheco score 2 touchdowns, so I think there's a lot of players in this game who are all capable of scoring 2 touchdowns. Travis Kelce has had a 2-touchdown Super Bowl in his career. So I'm taking yes to 2 players scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, I would have done the same because I feel like McCaffrey's going to score 2. Will either team score in the first 5 minutes of the game? I get almost 2-to-1 odds to say yes, and I think there will be a quick score from the 49ers. So I'm going to go with yes, plus 198. Okay. I'll take those odds.
I'm cool with that because I would have taken the no. My first score in the game came with like 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Yeah, defensive battle to start. All right, so that leaves me with the last prop bet, total number of players to attempt a pass. We like to use this pretty much every year.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. If anybody other than Patrick Mahomes or Brock Purdy throws a pass, then whoever gets the over gets the win there. The over is plus 160, so the money is certainly on that side. Under is minus 205, so not a lot to be had there. But in my Madden sim, it was only Mahomes and Purdy. The one passes, so I'm taking the under. Even though in a lot of ways I'd rather take the over. I was kind of hoping that Eric would just take that one and take the under and force me to take the over.
I'm still mad about last year because I had the over last year. Mahomes is limping around, gets his ankle re-aggravated. I'm like, okay, put the backup in for a drive, let him throw the ball, and I'll win this one.
But nope.
It didn't happen. Unbelievable.
All right. So
did y'all declare how much money is at stake?
Yes. Well, we didn't mention it on the podcast, so we've mentioned in the past. So every bet is a base of $5. So for the one that's even odds, it's $5, but we do use those odds. So, if Eric takes one of the prop bets where he has the underdog, or he has plus odds on it, he would stand to make more than $5 from me if he wins that, and I would get less than $5 if I win it because I have the betting favorite, and vice versa.
Oh, okay. I thought y'all bet $10 total.
No, it's 5 per bet, and not a ton of money has changed hands.
No, because it's been close
most the year. To Corey's.
Well, sure, but over the course of 4 years, it's been like I think I've won $34 total over 4 years.
Yeah, it's not that much.
Yeah, it's not that much per year.
Okay,
so it's not like he hasn't won any. I think overall between those 40 bets that we've done so far, I think I've won like 26, and you've won 14 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I win sometimes. If I didn't, I would have had to kick you like $200.
So we'll get a write up on the website with all of our prop bets, exactly how much money could change hands for each of those bets, depending on who wins, what the potential total win could be if I go 10-0 or if Eric goes 10-0, which ain't happening.
Not going 10-0.
And we'll include a sum of how much money has already changed hands.
Already?
Ain't nobody need to see that.
Everybody needs to see that, in my opinion.
I mean, clearly I need to see it.
Corey got to take advantage of that while he can because we're shifting to a money league in fantasy. So
yeah.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought.
Don't accuse Evan of reading the chat either.
I thought it said it wasn't unanimous, so we didn't. It didn't get
It
approved.
was nearly unanimous.
Oh. Okay.
So yes, we are shifting to a money league.
Money
Oh.
league.
Okay. Well,
Get some money. All right.
I need to.
Of the two people who voted against it, one of them voted for a money league last year, so I'm sure he'll be fine. And the other one was the last person to put his vote in. So if he doesn't want to continue because of that, then, didn't care enough to put his vote in earlier anyway.
This is gonna make Drew actually try this year.
Hopefully. We'll see.
I came up with a good punishment for like, if I ever get a chance to play in the Pro Bowl. So.
What is it?
Evan knows what it is.
I do.
I told you what it was when we were.
Don't accuse him of listening to you when you're wherever you were.
Don't do anything. Yeah, Evan just pays no attention. Okay.
Yeah. No, I got nothing.
What is it? I want
Yeah.
to know.
What is it?
All right. Well, you have to go to Spencer's Gifts,
Oh yeah.
and you
Okay,
have to.
I remember
you have
now.
to walk in there, and you have to, provably, purchase a blow-up doll,
Oh, no.
and you have to go to the cashier, take a picture with him or her, or them, and prove that you bought it, and not that you didn't buy it online. You had to go and hand this thing to a person and feel the shame of it, of purchasing a blow-up doll, get the receipt, and then on draft day you better blow that bitch up, and it has to sit next to you on the video chat.
I regret asking.
I think this is great. It's not expensive.
That is brilliant.
It's embarrassing. It's great. I came up with
I
that
didn't
on
know
the
that
fly.
was something that they sold at Spencer's Gifts.
Have you ever been in a Spencer's
I
Gifts?
thought this was like jewelry and like
No,
graphic
it's-
T-shirts and
It's
stuff.
silly stuff.
Oh,
They got like phallic shaped pop top or
Pop Tarts?
Not Pop-Tarts.
What?
they might have
I
those.
don't want that.
They might lollipops, but they've got those.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You got all kinds of cool stuff there. They do sell graphic T-shirts too, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's my thought.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting it out there for
Okay.
anybody else who wants to borrow it in case you win the Pro Bowl. I think it's pretty good.
That is pretty good. That's brutal. Yeah. So
I definitely do not want to end up in the Sacco bracket if you're ever in the running to be in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, because I will absolutely make sure you have to do it. I will not save that for a rainy day. That will be yours. You're wearing that one.
oh no.
Okay.
You run into somebody at this mall at Spencer's Gifts. It's like, hey, what are you here to get? You're doing a small talk or
You
whatever.
don't have to tell them,
Yeah.
but you have to tell us.
Yeah.
You have to talk to that cashier too.
And take a picture with them,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's.
Like, I bought this from you.
I walked into the store and bought this from a person. No online purchase, no discreet shipping or any nonsense like that people do. No, you gotta live it up.
All right.
So yeah, we mentioned this earlier. Eric and I, first coaster trip of the season. Kind of late getting started, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
We took Amtrak up to North New Jersey to Nickelodeon Universe amusement park, the world's largest indoor amusement park. So it was a lot of fun. Shout out to Greg and Jeremy and Tiffany and that's a message from Cory. I'm like, we're wrapping up the show and my phone buzzed. What happened now?
Blake Snell signed with the Orioles, and I'm
Oh
a
my
hot little
goodness.
potato again.
No.
Orioles should sign him.
They
Is he a
should.
free agent or
Yes,
needs to
he's
be
a free-
traded?
He's a free agent.
What are they waiting for?
That's what I said. But
Right? Like waiting for Kramer to be good all of a sudden? Like we've
Definitely
been waiting
have
for a
to give
while.
up Jackson Holiday or Adley if you want Blake Snell.
no, we don't.
He's a free agent.
Free agent.
You have to give up
Yeah.
straight cash
Just
homie.
give him
That's
money.
it.
What is everybody waiting for then?
I don't know.
What are the Yankees waiting for?
What are they waiting for? They have the most money.
Yeah.
Aren't they still the most valuable sports franchise ever?
I don't know. I think.
Are
Manchester
they more
United
than
might
like
be-
some of those Premier League teams?
Yeah, I think Man U might be more valuable.
I
Oh,
would
okay.
imagine they probably are.
Right,
okay.
Anyway, can we talk about something
Yeah.
else?
Yeah. Back to the coasters. A lot of fun.
Yeah, good time.
Went to Mr. Beast Burger.
Yes, that did happen. Yes. Corey,
What
do
is
you-
Mr. Beast
Do you know who
Burger?
Mr. Beast is? Wow, Corey is
Not off the top of
You
my head.
live on the earth.
He's not
like
online.
You work at a school with children and teenagers.
Sure, a lot. You could ask.
They
your
know who
class
Mr. Beast is.
Yeah.
Who is Mr. Beast?
He's a
YouTube
YouTuber.
personality. He's worth like a Nike ton of money. So. He's got a lot of bread. But yeah, he has his own little burger joint, and they've got a restaurant at that spot.
Is it better than Bobby's Burger Palace?
I don't know,
what that
because Bobby's Burger Palace was overrated. Anyway, the most enjoyable part of the trip may have been we had little wristbands that they scanned to let us ride stuff, and when you got an affirmative bloop or whatever from the thing, it was followed up by a SpongeBob laugh, and it was excellent. It was like everyone giggled every time. It was great. And a kid threw up on our ride.
Oh
That
yeah,
was a
somebody
lot of
did
fun.
throw up.
Yeah. He's 2 seats down from me. His kid next to me had braces and stuff, and he was just like, "Oh, it smells so bad!" Oh, just like freaking out. I thought the kid dumped in his pants because they thought he was smelling bad. But then I looked over, I was like, he had like rice pudding all over his shirt.
Oh.
So yeah,
And it was all over the floor
Yeah.
under the ride.
yeah, and he probably did it while we were up high too.
I assume, yeah,
Yeah,
because
so-
it wasn't even
Fortunate
under
that
the
it
ride.
didn't like get on you guys.
Yes.
I mean,
that
yeah,
ride
it didn't.
spins.
Otherwise, that would have been a sad story, and I wouldn't have been telling this. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that kid's misery. It was great.
I think he bounced back
he
right
was
away.
Actually okay. He seemed like he enjoyed the fact that he threw up on that ride. That was a hell of a ride too.
Yes.
That thing was gnarly.
Uh-huh.
That's why you don't eat before you get on roller
That's
coasters.
what
No.
I said. I literally right before that I said, Evan, maybe we should ride this before we eat Mr. Beast Burger.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a good idea. And then we got on. I was like, yeah, that was a doozy. Yeah. So
Yeah. Most of the time when I go to parks, I don't eat anything. Like I'm starving when it's time to leave.
I had to twist Evan's arm to get some wagon wheel pizza.
Doesn't help that your stomach is empty, so it's easy for it to twist into knots on all those roller coasters you ride.
Yeah, but there's, if you throw up, nothing's coming out. There's nothing in there.
So you don't throw up.
Exactly.
Some water.
Because dry heave or whatever.
I don't want
Wretch.
dry heave either. That's
It's like almost worse.
It is worse. I hate dry heaves. Much rather have something come out.
It's unsatisfying.
Yes.
So yeah, you had a good time. We need to go back to Epic
We
Universe.
are going
or
back,
not Epic
apparently.
Universe. I want to go to Epic Universe. Nickelodeon Universe. We missed a couple creds there. Sandy's Blastin' Bronco was having finicky Intamin problems. It's called Saturday with that thing.
Donuts weren't working?
Huh?
You said Intamin problems. So donuts.
That's
No.
Entenmann.
I know.
Yeah. And TMNT Shellraiser was down for whatever reason. I don't know why.
That
World,
looks like a piece of crap anyway.
yeah. It's a Gerstlauer Eurofighter or something, and it's or just janky. World's steepest drop, 121.5 degrees. So, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, should be fun when we head back. But yeah, that will do it for this week's show. Any shout outs from anybody?
I've got a few.
Okay.
Let's first shout out Melancholy Happy Trails to Carl Weathers, who passed away last week.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Evan has no idea who Carl Weathers is. Carl Weathers played Apollo Creed in the Rocky films. He also played Chubbs Peterson in Happy Gilmore.
Plays Grief Karga in The Mandalorian.
Yes. I mostly noted him not only because he's awesome, but because there's not a whole lot of good sports movies out there, and somehow he managed to be in almost all of them. Right? Like the first 3 Rocky films were really good.
Yeah.
And Happy Gilmore is
Excellent.
a hilarious comedy, and he's a big part of the reason why it's funny. So he's a great actor. He's a really cool guy. And it was a shame to see that he passed away. I didn't realize he was as old as he was, but he's still 76 is still not exactly.
He was a really good director too.
Yeah.
People don't know that as widely about him, but he directed quite a few things. He directed several episodes of The Mandalorian,
Yeah.
and they were fantastic.
And his comedic chops were also evidenced when he appeared as himself in Arrested Development. And apparently the showrunner wanted to bring him on and just make a bunch of Rocky jokes. And Carl Weathers sort of inadvertently shamed him out of doing that and kind of came up with his own idea of how to play himself, like a fake version of himself. And it was awesome. So it made the show way better. It was really cool. So, rest in peace to Carl Weathers. You ruled, dude. Also, shout out to Anthony Joseph Paul Reale for 20 years at Around the Horn. He celebrated his 20th year.
Wow.
For those who don't know, Around the Horn was actually initially hosted by Max Kellerman before Reale
really?
took over. Yeah, again, people don't usually know that because they associate Reale as the host.
Yeah.
But yeah, Max Kellerman was the first host of Around the Horn, but Reale obviously is the guy who popularized the show. So,
Yeah. Stat boy.
Stat boy indeed. And final shout out, it's a dual shout out to Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs. mainly Tracy Chapman, but Luke Combs gets a shout out here for those who don't know who Tracy Chapman is. I'm sure Evan does not know.
No idea.
Tracy Chapman is one of the most brilliant songwriters in the 20th century. She wrote the song Fast Car, which has been covered by Luke Combs, a country singer, and they performed it together at the Grammys on Sunday. I don't have a whole lot of time for the Grammys in general. It's generally just a fluff show. But this is something worth checking out just because, like, the presence that she still has when she performs that song, when she performs in general, is palpable. And Luke Combs, to his credit, when I found out that he was covering this song, I was like, this is the dumbest idea ever. Like, some country boy can't do this song. But the cover's actually pretty good. And his performance with her, he expressed the humility appropriate for the situation. And it was a touching moment and otherwise a waste of time for the Grammys. So if you have a chance to YouTube that, it's just 5 minutes. It's worth your time.
Okay. Shout out to Rob Landini, who came on with me for last night's basketball game after Eric left me hanging.
I gave you like a week and a half notice that I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Still, you initially said yes.
I didn't realize there was a basketball game then, or a Terps game that night.
Should have skipped it.
I should have, because the Terps disappointed.
Yeah, they lost. But we also disappointed, too.
I know.
The math has been struggling lately.
Yes,
it's not
Blewett's
pretty.
a good counsel, too.
Yeah.
Gotta beat them. Come on.
Yep, but yeah. So shout out to Rob Landini for sticking out with me last night on the X's and O's, and who was my other shout out about to be for? Shout out to Ben Johnson for withdrawing his name from consideration for the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator job. Welcome back to Detroit for another year.
Thought he was gonna be the head coach.
Why? I assumed he would take a head coach.
No, he was going to be because the Commodes had already hired Dan Quinn.
Right, but I figured that why would Ben Johnson enter his name into a conversation?
Or no, I'm sorry, you're right. It was initially for the head coaching job.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad.
Well,
Either way, withdrew his name from consideration for the Commodes job to come back to the Lions.
That's a demotion.
Oh, that's true.
Kind of like it was for Bieniemy,
Yes.
who is apparently not likely to return with the
Where is he?
Commodes.
What? I don't understand, right? Like, he torpedoed his career by going to Washington. Predictably, right? Like,
saw that
you know.
And the fact that the Chiefs made it back to this role without him only makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, with your boy Matt Nagy as their
Oh,
offensive
boy. Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. And Kadarius Toney.
Although
Is he even going to play this week? His status is still apparently up in the
it was-
air.
there
Nobody
was
has said anything one way or the other.
on PTI, they had a the thing that basically said, should they play him? Like, not will they play him? Is he available?
If the question is should they play him, the answer is a resounding no.
Of course not. Yeah, he will find a way to lose them that game.
Speaking of which, you'll never believe it, but in my Madden sim yesterday, a ball went through Kadarius Toney's hands and was intercepted while I was controlling the Chiefs.
It's like
That sounds
in
about
a
right.
cartoon, basically.
Guess
this
who made the interception?
That could be
Fred
anybody.
Warner.
Fred Warner. Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna guess Jaquiski Tart because he blew that interception. Is he still even on the 49ers? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah. No. It was an underneath pass,
Uh-huh.
right through his hands, bounces off, deflects to Fred Warner.
Did he house it?
No, he did not.
Oh, that's not as fun.
Yeah. That was on my first offensive drive with the Chiefs.
Oh. Orioles have made another trade. Orioles acquire utility man Nick Maton from Tigers for cash.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Oh, Al. Can't believe it. You know,
Guy.
here's a guy. There's no doubt about it. You know, Nick Maton, utility guy. He's,
I don't know who that is.
yeah, no idea. Here's a guy who's just going to take playing time from Jordan Westberg and Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holiday because he's just a veteran player and you can't beat that. You know, he's a great clubhouse guy.
I just got one question for Evan. Were you planning that from the start of tonight's show?
No, I just got an alert just now.
That happened like maybe 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I saw it earlier.
Gotcha.
And I didn't care to mention it. 'cause
Yeah,
it was
no, my
not-
phone just
not
buzzed.
relevant.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a hot little potato about that. Still about Corbin Burns, though. 6 days later, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Got
done.
any shout-outs?
I don't have any shout-outs because I can never remember to shout out anybody. I'm
Write
sure.
it down, man.
Oh, yeah. Maybe next week. So that'll do it for this week's show. If you made it this far into this assorted foolishness, go and smash that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. And if we're not on your podcatcher of choice, please reach out to us, and we will do our best to fix that. You can reach out to us via email, thesportsballers@gmail.com. We have a section in our show notes every week for mailbag questions, and pretty much every week it's empty.
A couple years ago, we were consistently getting them every week. That's why we created that section of our show notes.
Yeah. So, go ahead and reach out. You can follow us on Twitter @SportsBallers18. Follow Cory on Twitter @CoryPovett. Follow Eric on Twitter @Quagmire67. Follow me on Twitter @Evan_Ash13. What happened?
Nothing happened.
Find out after the show.
Oh no. You can't do that, right? Like, how do you? Like, nothing happened. You'll find out later. No, I need to know now.
It's
this is
relevant.
going to drive me crazy.
It's relevant to the titles. Just the fact that it says "Rest in peace to whoever got shot."
I put that in.
I
because
didn't
Evan
said
said
it.
it.
I know.
I wrote. I wrote
said
it.
it.
Yeah, Evan
you.
said it. I wrote it.
I just followed my phone. Evan,
Ain't no flub.
Yeah. So yeah, we're done. Good luck to everybody in the Super Bowl. Stay safe out there, and we will talk to you next week.